Want to know how the wealthy build their fortunes faster than everyone else? They seem to just grow and grow while everyone else seems to be on struggle street. I thought the answer was saving money. So I saved and saved and put aside money week after week, month after month to save up $50,000. I patted myself on the back. I'd achieved it, I'd done it, I'd done something. But then I realised that I was only earning 2 to 3% per annum interest. Then I learnt that I had to pay tax on that interest because that is now earned income. And then on top of that, the interest wasn't even keeping up with inflation. Now, what's inflation? It means money's becoming worth less and less over time. Have you heard your parents or your grandparents say, back in my day, a packet of lollies were 20 cents. Now it's $5.50. Does that mean that the same packet of lollies is worth more? No. It simply means that there's more money chasing that same product. So my $50,000 was earning 2 to 3% interest. I had to pay tax on it, and then it was becoming worth less and less over time. I was losing money. I'll tell you what I did at the end of this video, so you can see how I didn't keep on losing money. Well, the answer is leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is the exertion of a force by the means of a lever. A lever allows you to put on force more than you would if you didn't have it. Now let's have a think about it. If I want to travel across Australia, or America for that fact, from let's say Sydney to Perth, or maybe LA to Florida, I could use different vehicles to do this, couldn't I? I could walk, I could ride, I could drive a car, or even fly a plane. So let's have a think about each one of these and what's the different things they use. So, the first one. If I walked, here's me walking. How much time would it take for me to walk from Sydney to Perth to LA to Florida? Would take about 38 to 40 days. Okay, that's a decent amount of time. What if I decided to ride my bike? Here's my bike here. Great bike I'm a drawing of. Here's my bike. It would take about the same time, same distance, across Australia, across America, about 9 to 10 days. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. What about if I drove a car? Lovely car here. Wheel. It would take about 38 to 40 hours. That's quite a significant, going from 30 to 40 days to 38 to 40 hours, much quicker. And if I flew in a plane, here's my plane. It would take about 5 to 6 hours, the same distance. So we can see that these different vehicles take different amounts of time. Okay, now let's assuming that I was going to do all these activities, and I was going to purchase the vehicle to do these activities. How much do you think it would cost me? Let's say to walk, I would need a pair of shoes. So this is cost. Pair of shoes. How much does a pair of shoes cost? Let's say $100 for a pair of shoes. That would get me walking across the distance. How about a bike? I don't ride too many bikes, but let's just say for this example, a decent bike. You don't want to buy a cheap bike. Let's say for this example, the bike would cost $1,000. Right? That would get me across there in a decent time. What about a car? How much do you think a car would cost? Now, you could spend lots of money on cars. You can pay hundreds of thousands or a couple of thousand. But let's say for this example, all I wanted to do was get the car safely from A to B. That's all. I didn't need it to last for years and years and years. I just wanted to cross that spans, that distance. So let's say, for this example, we're going to say the car cost $10,000, just for this example. And then a plane, now I haven't bought too many planes, I don't know about you, but let's just say for this example, again, we just wanted a nice plane to get me and my family from A to B, and let's say for this example it cost $100,000. $100,000. So as you can see, walking is the slowest and the cheapest, and flying is the quickest and most expensive. Okay. Next, let's have a think about how long it would take me to learn the skill to do this task. So again, I said I was going to do all these things. I wasn't going to get a plane ticket, but I'm going to actually fly the plane myself. So to walk, well, we've all been walking. Most people will start walking when they're 1 or 2, and then you learn, and you've been doing it all your life. So it doesn't take very long to learn. You've been doing it all your life. So the skill level, it wouldn't take very long. You could probably start walking today. All right? It doesn't take very long. What about riding a bike? Well, again, most people would learn to ride a bike when they're young, maybe when they're 5, 6, 7. But if you didn't, it would probably take you as an adult, maybe an afternoon, maybe 2 days. You could get a bike. You could ask a friend to teach you. It's not super complicated. You just have to have a little bit of coordination, and you'd be able to ride a bike. So let's say you don't have any, you haven't been able to. But let's say it takes you, I don't know, one to 2 days. All right, not long at all. Sorry, that's I'll do that again. 1 to 2 days. What about driving a car? If you think about it, you have to first get your license, you have to do a test, you have to get your learner's permit, and then your provisional license. That usually takes about a year to get your 1 year to get your I can't write today. 1 year to get your provisional license so that you can drive, and then a couple more years to be unrestricted so you can have full driving. And now, what about a plane, the last one? How long do you reckon it takes to learn how to fly a plane? Maybe, again, you've got to get a license, you've got to do hours, you've got to pay for lessons. You can't just borrow your mate's plane, and it would probably take you 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years if I was to learn to fly a plane across that spans. So as you can see, these are different forms of leverage. Walking, it is the cheapest, doesn't require much skill, but it takes the most amount of time. Riding a bike, a little bit more expensive, $1,000, a lot less time, but it only takes 2 to 3 days to learn the skill. Driving a car, again, much less time, so from 9 to 10 days to 30 to 40 hours, maybe 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days tops. Again, it costs more, $10,000, maybe a year to learn the skill. And flying a plane, well, that's the quickest, isn't it? It's 5 hours, but the outlay is $100,000, and it would take you 2 to 3 years to get there, to learn that skill. So that's different forms of leverage. Now, let's have a think about it. Let's have a think about traveling another destination. So this is traveling from A to B. What about we travel from $0 to $1 million? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought, how would I get to $1 million? Let's say you had a job, and this job you were able to save here $100 a week. just zoom in here, this might be easier. Save $100 a week. Have you ever thought how much time it would take to save $1,000 per week? How long do you reckon it would take to get to $1 million? That's the destination. It would take approximately 192 years. That's quite a bit of time, isn't it? That's not a quick way to get to $1 million. But let's just have a think about that. What about if we saved $1,000 a week? $1,000 per week. It would take 19.2 years. That's a bit better. That's a bit more achievable in our lifetime to save that amount of money. Okay, let's have a think about what about if we were able to save $10,000 per week? How long do you reckon it would take? It would take around about 2 years. Just under 2 years. But let's just say for 2 years. That time frame is much more better, isn't it? And what about $100,000 per week? It would take 10 months, wouldn't it? 10 times 100,000 is 10 weeks, not 10 months, 10 weeks. 10 weeks. 10 weeks. Now we're talking, right? Now we're really kicking goals. So, 2 to 3 months. That's quite achievable. Now, what level of skill do you think it's requiring to be able to save $100 per week? Most people might have a job, they might have a side hustle or something, but they might be able to save $100 a week. Most people in this category would be what I would like to call, or Myron Golden would like to call, the implementer. Implemental. This is the person doing the thing. This is the person cutting the grass, hammering the nail, driving the truck. This is the person doing the task. The next level of skill to be able to save $1,000 a week, this would be more like the unification level. Unification level. This would be the person managing those persons implementing it. This requires a high level of skill. They're using their management skills. This person over here is using their muscles. They're using their muscles. There's my muscles. Right? Times time. Right? They're using a limited resource by another limited resource to earn money. The unification side, they're using their management skills to manage people. The next level, to be able to save $10,000 would be someone using their communication skills. Communication skills. This is using their mouth to make money. Their mouth to make money. So this is, if you think about an A-list actor, a singer, a salesperson, they're using their mouth, they're communicating a message and they're making money via that way. And the last level is imagination. This is where you're using your mind to make money, and this is where the real wealth. This above this level here is where the real money is made. Below this level here, we're using your communication and your imagination to make money, and this is where we're using our leverage. So here, your leverage is your muscles. You're doing the task. You're teaching the student. You're doing the thing. Your unification level is your leverage is your management skills. You're managing the people. You're delegating the task, and you're using the people as leverage. Your communication level is where you're using your mouth as leverage. That is where some real wealth can start to happen. And finally, the imagination stage is where it's using your mind as leverage. Now, in the implementation and the unification stage, you might be able to save more than $100 or $1,000. This is just an example to give you an understanding of what might be possible. But what you'll soon begin to realize in these levels is that it'll be capped, and it'll be capped very quickly. So back to the $50,000. Now, after learning all this, now after understanding this, instead of using that $50,000 to sit in the bank and become worth less and less over time, I used that money as a deposit, a 10% deposit, to buy an investment property. Then I used leverage and used the bank's money, the other 90%, to purchase that real estate property. Now I can control an asset worth 10 times my initial investment. Then I received rental income, and then I had to pay bills like property management, rates, insurance, interest, etc. And also could claim depreciation. What's depreciation? It's a paper loss on my investment property. That means on paper I lose money, and that will reduce my earned income, so I pay less tax over time. So I receive an income, I pay less tax, and now I control an asset worth 10 times my investment. Now this is real leverage. Now, another form of leverage is this YouTube channel. So this YouTube channel will be leveraging the internet to communicate a message. Now if I was to come and knock on your door and give this exact presentation or all the other presentations I've given to you, I'd be using a lot more time, right? I'd have to obviously travel to your house and knock on your door and come and set up and give this presentation, then go to the next person. Whereas by using the leverage of the internet, I can communicate this message right across the globe, right across the world. I've recorded it once, and it can go out through the use of things like the internet and impact people's lives. So that is another form of leverage. So I hope this video helps you and helps you learn more about leverage and how you can implement leverage in your life to help you grow your wealth.